From wrecking her opponent during the Indian Wells final to becoming the poster gal for women's tennis, no wonder the pros keep talking about how good Elena Rybakina really is. The courts of Indian Wells saw history in the making for the young Kazakh tennis player. Elena became the first from her country to win the tournament. And not only did she avenge her Aussie Open loss at the hands of Aryna Sabalenka, but reached a career high as well. Her performance was, simply put, fabulous. Elena dominated the first set at 13-11, and while her opponent played well, in the end, it was the 23-year-old who kissed the trophy hello. Elena's performance had us all hooked throughout the tournament. Once she stepped onto the court, there was no stopping her. On top of this, the victory also landed her the world number 6 ranking. Now that's a big jump considering she was only at number 25 at the beginning of 2023. Oh, and I bet you probably saw her match against Iga Swiatek too. Yes, the current number 1 player. Everyone was shocked by how Elena's abilities were on complete display there. Iga herself noted that Elena played really well in their matchup. The Polish player also said, "I feel like against her, I have to play better." This, by the way, is becoming a really popular opinion nowadays. Even the pros have stepped in to give their 2 cents about this young player, who's taken the sport by storm. And guess what? They've got nothing but praise for Kazakhstan's latest tennis star. Barbara Shet, the former Australian tennis player, thinks that Elena has all the right stuff to win. For Shet, Rybakina's 2022 Grand Slam title was expected, and if she continues to play her cards right, there's gonna be another title in Rybakina's future pretty soon. What Barbara really loves about the younger player's gameplay is that she's very cool and composed. Oh, and her strong service game. I can't go without mentioning that. Shet thinks that the star knows the strengths of her game and relies on them a lot. She's got a gift, so she's obviously gonna enjoy it. The Australian tennis pro believes that the young woman is destined for greatness. For Elena, winning another Grand Slam wouldn't be that difficult. I know it's just what Barbara thinks, but if you look at it, the odds are in Rybakina's favor. I mean, she did just win the 5th Grand Slam. It's not exactly a part of the Big 4 tennis events, but still is a huge deal. Barbara thinks that Elena's Grand Slam trophy will have a new addition soon, especially if her mindset and serve remain consistent. Speaking of, the Australian isn't the only one who's a big fan of the Kazakh serve. That club is growing, and Mats Wilander is a proud member. Now, you've got to assume that Wilander knows what he's talking about, especially when it comes to tennis. The man's got 7 Grand Slams under his belt, and you don't get there by mindlessly swatting your racket left and right on the court. Now he wants you to get behind Elena Rybakina as the next big thing in women's tennis. Mats was a huge fan of her performance at Wimbledon last year. He called it brilliant and praised her subdued reaction to winning the title. I guess he's talking about the complimentary ego boost that comes with winning a Grand Slam. It makes sense that Elena's different reaction was refreshing for everyone. The match was really tough. In Mats' words, the pressure was on, but it was no ordinary player on the other end. Oh no, Rybakina knew just how to handle it. I guess that much is expected from someone who's got the best serve in the women's game. That's the ultimate compliment, don't you think? Get this, Wilander is sure the player will make it to the world number 1 ranking. Now that's something we'd all love to see one day. Wilander is also a big fan of the player's mental attitude. He thinks that since Elena is very calm on the inside, she's going to win many more majors. Mats also thinks that the Kazakh is good news for the game. The 23-year-old represents how the game spreads around the world, which is definitely good for its popularity. Alex Corretja, the retired Spanish pro, also couldn't stop himself from singing the young player's praises. When Elena won Wimbledon, Alex said, "We have a future bright champion in front of us." What a sweet thought, right? The Spaniard made sure to talk about the Kazakhs' efforts and hard work. Like his fellow pros, he's also super happy to see someone as humble as Elena becoming this successful. Corretja also talked about the player's performance, noting that it was difficult for her to win the Wimbledon final, especially after she lost the first set. But nothing's too difficult when you've got the best serve in the women's game, right? Because Rybakina proved her worth to everyone, including Corretja, and blew us away with her performance. We can expect her to continue doing that in the future as well, don't you think? That's enough about former pros. What about those who are currently in the game? What do they have to say about this young star from Kazakhstan? That's a pretty easy question because one look at Elena and you know that absolutely no one could hate her. And that's exactly what her fellow players think, both men and women. Thanasi Kokkinakis even went public with their praise of the tennis star. He said, "Rybakina looks like the nicest girl ever." Okay, I'm guessing that this comment needs a bit of clarification. Here's the thing, even though it might come off as condescending, that's really not what Kokkinakis meant. He even tweeted about it later, promising that he wasn't taking a dig at Elena. Now, if you're wondering what made him say this, then here's an explanation. When watching the Indian Wells final, the Australian saw the 23-year-old talk about her opponent. What shocked him was how Rybakina was super humble, even after winning the tournament. Now, that's something you don't see very often. Usually it's more like, here's your trophy, yeah, you can trash talk your opponent freely. After all, drama gets the audience, right? But Elena is above all that, and her fellow players love her for this. Ons Jabeur, the player's Wimbledon opponent, is also a fan of Elena's no-fuss style, but she's got a fresh take on it. And honestly, I'm here for it. Jabeur said that it was nice to play against Elena. Why? Well, the answer is pretty simple. If you lose, she's not going to end up dancing and celebrating. Instead, the Kazakh will respect your feelings and be humble about it. But it's not that Rybakina doesn't react at all. Oh no, according to Ons, she does react. You just need to pay attention to her. And by paying attention, I mean really focus on her expressions. But it's not only her humble attitude that makes everyone love her. No, she's earned her reputation through her amazing performance. Jabeur made sure to let everyone know about that. She said that playing against Elena was really frustrating because the Kazakhs were always on the lookout to get some space. And once she's successful there, you can't stop her. Ons is sure that she's one of the best from the young generation. And that's an opinion we can all get behind. It's true that Elena doesn't need any over-the-top celebrations to feel good. Her game definitely speaks for her. What's more, she's not just a nice person in court, it really goes all the way. During the Aussie Open, some people noticed her coach, Stefano Vukov, treating her harshly, so they urged her to get a new one. But I guess they didn't know how loyal Elena was. She came to her mentor's defense, stating that he's a passionate coach who's been right by her side for many years. Elena coming to her coach's aid was something that all the tennis fans loved. She even got a nod from none other than Patrick Mouratoglou. Yes, Serena Williams' old coach. Patrick stated, "Good job, Elena, for speaking up." I guess the man is tired of people throwing others under the bus without even knowing the facts. But Rybakina proved herself to be better than that. She made sure to stand by her coach's side, saying, "He has great knowledge about me as a person and as an athlete." At the end, that's the only thing that matters, right? Keeping all this in mind, it makes sense that people think of her as the future of women's tennis. If things work out in her favor, then chances are that we're looking at the next Serena Williams. And I'm not just saying that. These are Mats Wielander's words. But it's true though, at times she has served as hard as Serena, and Elena is only getting better with age. Everyone's just in awe of this young player. She's accomplished quite a lot, especially for someone who couldn't afford private lessons. It's clear from her performance though, the gal's just getting started, and we have no idea what she's capable of. It's going to be really fun watching her grow, don't you think? So, from being the poster gal for women's tennis, to wrecking her opponent during the Indian Wells final, here's why the pros are absolutely in love with Elena Rybakina.